Hello and welcome to Simon's Sneaky DNS How-To. In this quick video, I will show you how to encrypt your DNS traffic and explain why you should. On the internet, even with encrypted connections, metadata can be leaked. One of the biggest leakers of metadata is the domain name system, which is used to translate human-readable names into machine-readable IP addresses. The problem is DNS is an ancient service from the 80s which hasn't been modernized to use encryption. There are various bolt-ons to encrypt DNS, but none are prevalent on the internet, so most DNS traffic is clear text. Considering the top two diagrams, your DNS probably looks like one of these. If you're at home, you have effectively a direct connection where you are making outbound DNS queries on port 53 in clear text to a DNS server which is probably operated by your internet service provider or some other provider on the internet. The problem is that the operator of that DNS server is privy to your DNS queries, and also anyone on the network capable of running a packet sniffer can see your DNS queries. Similarly, if you're in a commercial environment, chances are the commercial environment operates its own DNS server where you are sharing your DNS query data with the operator of that server, and once again, anyone on the network capable of sniffing packets. My preferred solution to prevent this is Stubby from the GetDNS project. Stubby is a little DNS resolver you can install on your computer to encrypt your DNS traffic. I use this in conjunction with my sneaky web proxy to overcome the leaking of metadata. To show you that use case, consider this diagram of my sneaky web proxy, which I described in the last video, and to which I'll link in the description below. Even though I'm encrypting my traffic to and from the proxy, I'm leaking clear text metadata to the local DNS server. Anyone sniffing traffic on the local network or with administrative access to that DNS server can view my DNS data. The solution is to install Stubby, and there are instructions on the main page on how to do so for various operating systems and how to configure it. Configuration is simple, simply by uncommenting the encrypted DNS servers you'd like to use from the configuration file. To give you an overview of how that looks, consider the bottom two diagrams. Private DNS is how Stubby operates by default, where DNS queries are encrypted on the well-known port for secure DNS 853 to a DNS server. But Stubby can also be configured to use port 443, which is well known for HTTPS, rather than 853. The advantage of port 443 is that it is likely to be open for outbound traffic on a commercial firewall. By default, the DNS servers in the Stubby file just need to be uncommented to be used. By default, they use port 853 or 443 if 443 is mentioned in the configuration. Simply uncommenting the appropriate DNS servers will force Stubby to use them. The next step is to tell your operating system to use Stubby. I'm using Linux for this example, but the process is not dissimilar for other operating systems such as Mac OS and Windows. Simply on Linux, commenting out the name server entry for your local network or for your ISP in the file resolve.conf and telling it to use the local host instead will force DNS queries to use Stubby. To test everything is working okay, you should open up your favorite packet capture tools such as TCP dump or Wireshark and run a few DNS queries. You should see traffic outbound on ports 853 and or ports 443 depending upon your configuration of Stubby. If you see traffic on port 53, your DNS traffic is still in cleartext and something is wrong. One drawback of Stubby is that the current version, now in June 2019, doesn't allow you to use a local DNS server for local lookups or to create your own zone file. The simple workaround to this is to create a hosts file like this one and tell your operating system to look at hosts before DNS. On Linux, this is controlled by the nsswitch.conf file, simply telling nsswitch.conf to look for files before looking for DNS achieves this resolution. Okay, that's it. I hope you found this video useful, and I hope you'll use Stubby for encryption of your DNS queries. I'll leave links to the resources I've mentioned in the description below. Bye for now.